So, are you on the twin flame journey, whether you are the divine feminine or the divine masculine in your connection, and you're feeling lost on your journey? Then this video is for you. For those of you that are new to my channel, welcome. My name is Melissa, and this is the sacredness within you, and I'm here to help you rediscover all these incredible parts about yourself and really help you cultivate and create the life that your heart desires. And right now in my journey in regards to how I am here to be of service, I'm really focusing on those that are on the twin flame journey. And a lot of what I talk about in terms of this dynamic can also be applied to those of you that are wanting to cultivate and create a more conscious relationship. And so I am a Reiki master. I am a spiritual coach and guide. I am actually the divine feminine in my twin flame connection. And for those of you that are into human design, I am actually a 3-5 emotional projector. And why I share that with you is if you know anything about human design, as a projector, I am here to be a guide. I have always thought of that in regards to who I am. And everything that it is that I've done in life, I have this ability to be able to connect to people's energies and know exactly what it is that they're doing wrong. And I use air quotes because everything just is. There is no right or wrong. And we have to experience what it is that we need to experience on our path. But then I also receive very clear guidance in terms of what it is that you are meant to do forward. And being that I am a 3-5, it also is for me about honoring my soul's journey, as many of us are. But my soul loves to experience all that it can, and it loves to take what I like to say is a long way to get there, because it's on that path that I learn what it is that works and then what doesn't work. And we're really at a time in our evolution as humans that we are no longer meant to learn things a hard way. Like, we no longer have to take that path and go through unnecessary pain and suffering. And many of you are being called to let go of that limiting belief and take what resonates with you on this path and start applying it right away to your journey. And so with that, in all of my videos, I will always say this: take what resonates with you. That feeling of like, yes, this is for me. Like, it's a remembrance of part of you. And take that and start applying it to your journey. And whatever doesn't resonate with you, leave it there. Because what I found is oftentimes when something doesn't resonate, it's probably not our truth. And it could be just not at our truth at that time. Perhaps you had some resistance to receiving that guidance, whatever it may be. But it doesn't mean that it's wrong, because I look back on my journey, whether it's on my twin flame journey or my journey of ascension, and where I am now in my journey and what I believe is much different than what it was that I believed in the beginning of my journey. And so, in speaking of the beginning of my journey, I want to share a little bit about my journey, because it's going to tie into some of the things that I'm going to share. Because in the beginning of my journey, I actually, for the first year and a half, had no idea that I was on the twin flame journey, nor did I even know that I was awakening. All I know was I had two very traumatic events happen back to me that like cracked me wide open. You know, we think of like coal being pressured, and like coal, when it's put under a certain amount of pressure, it then becomes a diamond. And that's what I think about this journey of ascension and this journey as a twin flame. Our twin flame is just a mirror to us to help us see these parts of ourselves. And I like to think that it's the superhighway to your path to ascension. But my first year and a half, I didn't know that I was a twin. When I woke up one day, I was like, girl, you need to do something different in your life, because what you're doing isn't working. And then there was this part of me that felt like I had been living a lie. I felt like that how I was showing up was not true to who I was. And it wasn't in alignment with the dreams and the visions that I had as a little girl. And so at this time, I just decided to go to the beach every morning, connect with God, because at the time I was a very devoted Christian and was seeking guidance from God. I would go to the beach and I would pray, I would meditate, and I would just allow myself to receive whatever guidance it was that I received. And what's really crazy is I would tell some of my Christian friends, I'd be like, oh my God, like I literally heard God's voice today. Or I felt this coming through, like this is what I needed to do. What I didn't realize, it was me connecting to my godlike self and connecting to my higher self and connecting to that part of me that just knew. And I was following this guidance, following my intuition, and I was really creating some incredible changes along the way in my journey. But I also had received at that time very specific guidance from my divine masculine in what it is that I needed to do in order for us to come back together. Because there was this part of me that knew that I needed to do certain things, that we needed to heal certain parts of us. And he knew that there was things that I needed to do as well. And he also told me that we needed time, that this wasn't going to happen overnight. So I was receiving guidance from him. I was receiving guidance from God, and I was just really turning within. And what I found was it was really a lot of peace within me. It was ease. It was grace. There were some hard times when I would get triggered and stuff. And there were some moments that were really difficult, but I knew that I could get through this. And I think like a year and a half after I met my divine masculine, I had a coworker come back into my life, and she introduced me to the idea of twin flames. And it was like at that moment, I was like, oh my God, this is what I've been going through. And it like answered this part of me that was like, why is this happening? Like, why is this dynamic so different than any other relationship that I had? And at the same time, I instantly became overwhelmed, because it was like, okay, I'm part of this twin flame journey. And by the way, this means that I'm awakening. Like, what the hell? And she was overwhelming me with all this information that she felt I needed to read to understand. And I shut down. And I told her, I was like, I can't take any more of this information. It's really overwhelming for me. And what I realized was, whenever I'm in this state of overwhelm, I always make the wrong decision. It's a lesson I've had to learn many, many times. If I get in the state of overwhelm, despair, or hopelessness, I always make the wrong decision. But now I've learned that when I get into those energies, which is less and less now because of the healing that I've done, I now know that I need to pause and take a moment to make a better decision, because it was at that moment of overwhelm that I couldn't listen to my inner truth, and I actually started walking away from my inner truth, and I started listening to the gurus out there that say that they're a guru on this journey, the experts, the people that say that there's one way to union, tarot readings, and all of this stuff. I started turning to them. And I started abandoning my inner knowing, because what I found was that what really resonated with me when I shared it with my friend, she told me I was wrong. And I trusted her and believed her because she had been on this path at that time for 6 years. And so in my mind, I was like, she knows more about this path than I do. Who am I to know what's going on? Because I've only known about this path for like a couple weeks, you know? But looking back, I could see that I was in a very different place in my journey than her. Like I had all this like love for him. I had this unwavering faith in what it was that I was meant to do and experience with him. And just always knew that I would come into union with him. And the more I listened to her, the more I listened to these gurus, because in my mind, I've always been told that somebody who has more experience than you, has been doing something longer than you, obviously knows more than you. How many of you can relate to that? Because we are told that all the time, but really what we don't realize is we have these beautiful gifts and this knowing and this wisdom within us. And so the more I followed them, the more lost I became, because I was rejecting myself. I was abandoning myself. And I was actually no longer listening to that inner truth and inner knowing that I had. And I shut down that ability for a really long time. And I was constantly seeking outside of myself. So not trusting your intuition and your guidance will always get you off your path and you'll feel lost. Also, too, seeking guidance outside of yourself all the time by going into groups or following, tons of people on social media, whether that's YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, or TikTok. Those can also take you away from your truth and your inner knowing, because anytime we seek outside of us, it is shutting down our ability to trust ourselves. So I started seeking guidance from others. And at that time in my journey, I was also, really connecting to God. And I disconnected from God because, she was telling me that she didn't believe in God. Like, she told me that she didn't think that she needed God in her life. And I was like, well, nobody else is talking about God in this dynamic, and she is not. So I guess I need to let go of that part of me. And so I did. I disconnected from God. What I found was I was no longer feeling connected to all that was around me. I actually started feeling really disconnected from my beloved. And I didn't realize that to the extent in which I could receive and connect to God's energy. And if you don't believe in God and you believe in universe, source, or spirit, that's totally fine. To me, they're all the same. But God just resonates with me the most. And then I received this message: to the extent in which I can receive God into my life is to the extent I can receive and allow my divine masculine in my life. And it was like, ding, 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 ding. It woke me up to realize I needed to start that connection again with God. But I started it from a very different perspective. And I realized that in my faith, I was seeking God outside of me. I was conditioned to believe that God was outside of me. I needed to do certain things in order for God to love me, to receive certain things from God. The list went on. And once I realized that I needed to tap into my God-like self and connect energetically to God and allow that energy to help me remember who I am, and to allow that energy of God to be, for me, the masculine energy in my life, because it was an energy that was helping me lead. It was an energy that was helping provide for me, which allowed me then to step more into my feminine essence of being like, okay, I'm going to take inspired action and then sit back, receive, and enjoy life, and allow God to do the heavy lifting. And that's when I really started realizing that I needed to work on my holy trinity, meaning my connection with God, myself, and my divine masculine. And the way that I view it is God is at the top. I am on the left because I am the feminine, and my divine masculine is on the right because he's a masculine in the connection. And I work on improving my connection with both. And then the third thing that I often saw myself doing that would get me off path or bring this feeling of being lost was I was trying to figure out this journey from my mind, from my masculine energy. I was trying to figure it out and trying to figure out what is the next step. What is it that I need to do? And the more that I tried to navigate this journey from the mind, the more I was walking away from my inner knowing, from my intuition, that part of me that was leading me and guiding me. And then the fourth thing that I realized that I was doing that was taking me off my path of a highest alignment and continuing to increase that feeling of being lost was I was trying to get it right. I was trying for this journey to be perfect. I was afraid of making a mistake. I was afraid of making a decision. I was afraid to do anything. And what happens is I didn't have this commitment. I didn't have this decisiveness because I was afraid I was going to make a mistake. And what I didn't realize at that time until I heard this was, no matter where you are on your journey, everything in your life that could ever happen has already happened. And you are just aligning to that version of yourself. And you need to go down that path to experience whatever it is that you are meant to experience. So there is no right, there is no wrong. Everything is actually happening perfectly. And a lot of times what I learned was the worst case scenario that my mind was imagining never occurred. So I spent all this time worrying and wasting energy and time and stuff and missing out on life because I was worried. And so what I also saw too was when I wasn't making a decision and taking inspired action on my path, what I was doing was I was actually waiting for others to make the decision for me. So I was like in this disempowered state. I was playing the victim because that way, if I didn't make a mistake, nobody could blame me, right? I could always blame somebody else. And so if you are experiencing any of this, it's totally fine because I got you. And I share with you this because these are all things that I experienced when I was feeling lost in my journey. And now I want to talk about what it is that I did in order to get back onto a path that felt aligned to me and really felt really yummy and juicy to me, and started cultivating huge differences within me, but also too within my dynamic. So the first thing is I got rid of anything that was not in alignment with me being able to tap into my inner truth, to listen to those soft whispers. So I eliminated any friends that were not in alignment with me. I stopped listening to tarot readings on any platform. I no longer connected and listened to any of the gurus or teachers or experts on the path that said that they could lead me to union by going this one way. I eliminated all of that. I know for some of you, it might be triggering because you're like, oh my gosh, like every day I'm listening to a tarot reading. But those tarot readings are just really getting you off your path. And I know sometimes it feels like that they're speaking to you. I get it. I've been there. But guess what? They're speaking to thousands of people. And it's just an energy of a collective. It's not your true path. And there were so many times when I would listen to tarot readers and they were like, oh, this is going to happen and this is going to happen and this, and it never did. And remember, when you are reading tarot and having somebody read for you, it's based on the energies of that moment. And because we have free will, whether it's you or your divine masculine that's practicing your free will, it can alter the outcome of your life and alter what could actually happen. And so I think tarot is great for guidance and helping you build your intuition and your trust in knowing and what it is that you're feeling as well, but not to have it be the holy grail. The other thing I did was I started meditating. I started meditating daily. I actually meditate anywhere from 2 to 3 times per day. This is an opportunity for me to connect to myself, to connect to God, to really come back to my inner knowing and to really soften my energy and really come home. Every time I have a very specific way of meditating that I practice. When I lay down, I'm like, oh, I get to come back to myself. I get to turn all that focus into me. I worked on increasing my connection to God and really beginning to understand that there was a God-like self within me that I needed to activate. Because what I realized was God is within me because God is part of me and I am part of God. And there is this energetic flow that happens between this energy of God and me. But I had a lot of limiting beliefs around God and my connection, I had a lot of blockages in my energetic spaces as well. So I had to do a lot of internal work, a lot of energy healing as well, to help me increase my connection to God. Because what I found out was it was beliefs that I chose to take on in this life, but also to other experiences in my past life that I was carrying in at the level of my soul in relationship to my connection with God. I started really looking at God and then my divine masculine as the leaders of my journey. Like, they are leading me to see all the parts of me that I don't want to see or can't see. And I get to accept these parts of me, and I get to heal them, and I get to transform them. And when I allowed them to lead me, I no longer then had to figure out where it was that I was going, because I trusted in knowing that both of them would lead me. Next, I also worked on trusting whatever knowing I had within me. So I acted on these whether I had proof or not, because a lot of times you don't have proof. And I continue to act on these knowings whether or not I saw an outcome from what it was that I did instead. Because here's the thing, is a lot of us, myself included, I did this, so a lot of you are doing this. You're coming to a fork in the road where you've been at this place before, and you could either continue going down this path, which is familiar, you know the obstacles that lie ahead, and you know what you're going to come across, and this feels really familiar. You can go down that path. As Einstein says, when you continue to do the same thing over and over and expecting a different result, that's actually insanity. So where is it in your journey that you've been doing the same thing and nothing has changed? And in that moment, where is it that you can choose a different path? Because it's down this path that's going to lead you to your truth, to the highest aligned path for you at that time in your journey, where you can really start to feel secure. You can trust in what it is that you are receiving, what you're receiving from guidance in terms of how to navigate this journey, because we all have similar experiences that we go through, similar lessons, but how we come into union can be very different for all of us. And there's no one way to get there. And anytime I heard somebody say there's only one way, or this is what you have to do, these are the rules, run for the hills. Because guess what? I broke every single rule according to all of these people. And guess what? I have a really great dynamic with my beloved. And are we in union? No. But am I really happy with where we are? Absolutely, 100%. And am I happy with the woman that I become? 100%. And so there is no right and there is no wrong. It's just aligning to what it is that it is your truth. And to act on these inner knowings, no matter what it is that you do, because when you act on that knowing, or you go down a different path because you're sick of going down the same path, what you're going to find is that your ego is going to tell you, no, this is the wrong way. You might feel a little afraid, because your ego can only see what lies ahead, 2 steps, and it doesn't know what lies ahead on this new path. And what happens is when you are on that path, or you think about going that new way of things, there's this gentleness within you, that softness, that whisper that says, I got you. This is going to be okay. And to continue to take those steps, no matter how scary it is. Because you know what? If you're scared, and yet there's this gentleness underneath you that says everything's going to be okay, keep going, my friends. Keep going, because that is the path. You are creating new ways of being. You're creating new neural pathways. You're learning to trust that intuition and that knowing that everything is always working out for your highest good. There was something that was coming through that I wanted to share with you, and I completely lost it. Okay, so I'm just recapping to see if I can remember what's coming up. Get rid of anything that is taking you away from your truth. Tarot readings, experts, gurus that are no longer aligning with you, that say, this is the way, this is the only way. Meditation, connecting to God. And then trusting your inner knowing and taking action. The other thing that I did was I did a lot of energy work. I cleared my energy daily from the energies that I've connected to along the way on my journey, through past relationships, through people that I interact with on a daily basis. I ground myself into Mother Earth, and I connect myself to God. And I've learned that I get to have both of these incredible energies in my life, and that I am the middle ground for that, because Mother Earth, a very feminine, nurturing energy, is here to help me remember what it is that is within me, where my connection to God is helping lead me in this journey. The other thing that I did, and this is a really powerful transformation for me, was I asked God for guidance. I called in my spirit guides. Some of you need to upgrade your guides. I connected to my higher self. I called in all of my ancestors that wanted to support me on this journey, asking them for those that were here to be here from the highest vibration of love and light. I activate and call in Archangel Michael. I utilize Kuan Yin. I use a lot of high beings to help me navigate this journey with me. Because here's the thing that a lot of us forget, and maybe don't even know, is there are these high beings that are here to help us. But because, excuse me, but because we have free will on planet Earth, they cannot intervene into our journey. And so whenever I'm going through something that's really challenging, or I can't see the way because there's so much cloud in front of me, I call upon them and I ask them for guidance. And I open up to receive that guidance by meditating, by connecting to nature, and just being very present and letting go of any expectation of what it is that I was going to receive. And the more actually that you can let go of expectations or needing something to be a certain way on this journey, the easier that this journey becomes. Because expectations, excuse me, can lead to more pain and more suffering when you can get to that state of looking at this journey through the lens of like a child, if you ever look at a baby or even a toddler, and how everything is so exciting to them. They're looking at it through curiosity. They're like learning about it, and they're just looking at it from this pure energy. And so once I started also looking at things from that lens, I'd be like, oh, I wonder why this is showing up in my reality. What is this here to teach me? Like right now, I'm learning something in my reality that's really helping me step into my power and see how powerful I am. And when I asked that, I was like, why did I create this? Why is this coming into my reality? I received almost instantly what it was that I needed to learn and to experience. And so then I asked for guidance to help me navigate this journey so I can learn this lesson and really step into my power and what it is that I'm here to create. And so my friends, I really hope that this video helped you in some way, shape, or form. Remember, there is no right or wrong to this journey. The more that you can let go of expectations and trust your inner knowing and call in any high beings that you have in your reality that you want to help you, support you in this journey, use all the tools that you have. And if you're needing a sign and you're not really trusting the sign that you're getting, you can always ask your guides for clarity. I always ask them for clarity if I'm like, I don't really know because both of these feel right. I ask them to send me a sign. I get very specific, and I set a time limit in terms of when I want to receive that guidance and a very specific way in which I want to receive it. And so once I receive that, then I know whether or not that is the path that I should be taking, but also to let yourself off the hook, because there is no wrong way. And so I'm sending you all so much love and light, and I would love to hear from you what resonated with you, what are you struggling with right now on this journey, because I'm trying to go back to that version of me and really understand what it is that I learned and what did I need at that time in my journey. But sometimes I'm just not able to see that. So I'd love to be able to support you on this path and help you with remembering what it is that is your truth. And so, my friends, I'm sending you so much love and light. And until next time.